All right, let me call this meeting to order. This is the October 24th, 2022 Board of Education meeting. Welcome, everybody. We got a packed house today. The first order of business is to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the next order is the approval of the minutes. Do I have a approval?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
For members, we have a packed house for good reason. We've got a lot of big accomplishments to celebrate. I want to start with Jackson Fuller. Jackson with us today. Jackson Fuller. We'll circle back to Jackson maybe in just a few minutes. Our math team, you Alpha Beta. Math team, come on up. All right, Mr. Taylor in the audience. Ms. Roselle is here. All right, so let me just read this for a minute, then I'm going to ask you guys to talk a little bit about yourself, okay? The VHS math team competed at the VU Alpha Theta National Convention, and that was in July, right? And so 9 of the students participated, had first place finishes, and 9 perfect scores, which is so impressive. And we have some of our math team students here, this very impressive accomplishment here in July. So what I want, and this is, I should say, really a legacy group. For those of you who are longtime Vestavia folks, maybe not, math team has been for many years. Quite an impressive group, and they work really hard. In fact, you come in at what time in the mornings? 7:30 each morning. Mind you, school starts at 8:20. 7:30 in the mornings to do the work that they do. So that's impressive in its own right. So I want you to introduce yourself to the group, okay? And tell us a little bit about yourself, specifically what you're doing in school besides many hours of math team, and what your plans are in the future. Okay, we'll start.
I'm Rishabh Samant. I'm a senior this year at the high school. I'm really involved in our ambassador program that we have at the high school. And I'm also super involved in our Spanish Honor Society and our speech and debate.
Great. And your plans?
My plans after high school, college. To be.
All right, to be determined. That's great.
Thank you so much.
All right, my name is Ben Kushmariu. I'm taking all honors classes this year. I am, like many other people in this group. I am also involved in the National Honor Society, as well as the leadership community. My plans after high school are to go to college as well.
Good plan.
Hi, I'm Kyuan Kim, and I'm a sophomore. I don't really do much besides math. I do play viola like outside of school, and I just plan to have like a solid job after high school.
I think your dad's here. Did I see your dad? Yeah, he'll appreciate that.
Hello, I'm Timothy. I'm also a sophomore. At school, I'm involved in speech and debate. I guess I play violin. And after school, I think going to college and getting a job is a good idea.
We have a thing.
Thank you.
We have a thing.
Hello, my name is Carol. I am a junior at Vestavia Hills High School. I'm also involved in speech ambassadors, and I'm involved in the French Honor Society as well. So my goals after high school are just like hopefully get a job as well.
Saw that one coming.
My name is Anusha. I am also a junior. So in school, I'm part of the math team. I'm an ambassador. I am part of the Lincoln Douglas debate team. And after high school, going to college. Yes.
That's good. So, Carol, I'll ask you to be the spokesperson for the group. So you're all involved in different things, which is impressive in its own right, that you can balance all of this, being honors classes, do these competitions and things like that. So what's the key to balancing all this and being successful?
In my opinion, it's learning to prioritize like what exactly you're aiming for. And for me especially, I'm trying to aim for like improving writing and language skills more so than STEM. So I tend to focus on those activities a little more. And obviously getting like a good sleep schedule, not sleeping for 3 hours a day. Timothy.
I think more than you.
Well, we chose well. Yeah, that was a great answer. I really appreciate that. It compliments a lot of the things that you're involved in. So I met Mr. Kim. So from a parent perspective, how do you see them managing all of the things that they do at the school?
It's the passion, it's the dedication, the level of dedication to their life. And all of them, I've seen many of the high school students in Vestavia, and all of those who accomplishes a lot have that trait in their life. They are very dedicated to what they are doing. So
Appreciate you sharing. And as we've been talking so much this year about our initiative, One Railroad, One Future, I heard so much, obviously, emphasis in STEM, but I heard humanities and the languages that you're a part of, some of the leadership things you're doing, the arts that you're involved in musicianship. That's all fantastic. Really such a nice blend of how important it is to find a way to do many different things well. So congratulations. This is a great accomplishment, and I look forward to seeing you again next year. Hey, yes, a math team member in his own right.
One, congratulations to each of y'all. As a former math team member who never had a perfect score on any test, congratulations. But I do want to think about how well-rounded, we heard about how well-rounded this group was. And I recall from many years ago where we had members of the student newspaper, debate team, wrestling team, basketball team, and they all came together to compete in math, which was amazing. And this school from Alabama did so and won 15 national titles. So next year, I hope that we'll be up here giving another national title and recognizing the entire team. So thank you all.
Well done. Right, okay. Our next group are National Merit Semifinalists. I want you guys to come up if you're part of that group of 21 students. Most of you have made it tonight. That's awesome. Ask Ms. Roselle to say a few words on behalf of this group, a little bit about National Merit Semifinalists. Ms. Roselle.
Oh, this is a big group we have here, and this group also got recognized at our pep rally last Friday, and I just think I hope you guys felt the love from the student body as they celebrated alongside you. So I just thought that was awesome. Okay, so as you know, and you probably have seen in some publications, 21 of our students were named semifinalists, and the way that they got here was by taking the PSAT. This was last school year, and I did some data digging, and I will tell you that this group nationwide represents less than 1% of all seniors. What a massive accomplishment! And guys, I have to go ahead and say, you haven't had quite a normal school experience the few years to lead up to this. So what I hope you hear adults, and obviously your parents feel the same way, but the perseverance, the grit, the determination to not ease up academically, it just paid off. And so now what will happen is they will go into a pool, and according to my data, we're talking have an opportunity at $30 million in scholarships. I mean, this group, they have to do a couple other steps, but you are already this far, so take it the rest of the way. But we could not, your school community, your administrative team, we could not be more proud of you. And this is the highest number we've had since 2000, hold on just a second, since 2006. So this is the highest number we've had, and this was also the highest number in the state of Alabama for this group.
Right. Tremendous accomplishment.
Very proud of you.
Congratulations. This is wonderful. Now, I want to ask you to introduce yourselves like our math team did. Okay, tell us about yourself and what your college plans are or post-high school plans are, and a little bit about what else you're involved in, or what all you're involved in. Okay, we'll start.
My name is Mary Catherine Meeks. I'm a senior. I'm super involved in Spanish Honor Society and the Sisterhood Project at the high school, and I also play softball. And I want to become an anesthesiologist assistant, maybe an anesthesiologist at some point, so that's where I'm headed.
That's great. Good place.
Hello, my name is Armando Latali. I'm pretty heavily involved in LD debate and Key Club at VHHS. I'm Key Club's treasurer here. And post high school plans, college, preferably computer science. My other interests include like linguistics, history, Middle Eastern studies, things like that.
Well, that's a good bit.
A pretty diverse interest.
Yes, you should. I did. So tell everybody about that. That's pretty good too.
Yeah, I have a 36 on my ACT.
You go ahead and talk.
I'm Jake Anthony. I'm also a senior. I'm pretty involved in our Spanish Honor Society, and I play tennis. And after high school, I probably want to go into some sort of engineering course in college.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great choice.
I'm Malika Disa. I am the founder and president of VHHS Girls Who Code. I do competitive science fair with Rishabh. We lead that together. I'm involved in youth leadership at the high school and community service at Children's Hospital.
Oh, that's great.
I'm Hannah Wright. I do dance. I'm involved in stand club. And after high school, I want to be a vet.
And what club did you say?
Stand club.
Okay.
I'm Becca Maddox. I'm involved in the Science Olympiad team, and I play oboe for the Honors Wind Symphony. I plan on being a mechanical engineer once I graduate college.
I'm Susan Bascaraj. I'm band section leader. I'm in Science Olympiad, Latin. What else? I play piano and I'm on math team. And in college, I plan to major in criminal justice and neuroscience.
Hey all, my name is Alice Sun. I play flag football at the high school and I'm involved in the new student committee in Help the Hills at our school. In college, I plan on majoring in psychology and pre-law. I'm Erin Visser. I'm on the math team, although I did not get a perfect score. I'm also on the Science Media team and in Latin. I'm an ambassador. And right now I plan on majoring in probably math or physics.
My name is Bella Gentry. I am an editor of the yearbook. I'm also an editor of the Pillar newspaper, and I'm a Vestavia ambassador. And after high school, I plan on going to business school.
I am Dylan Zell. I am involved in both debate team and math team, though I could not compete in nationals this year, unfortunately. I'm also the founder of the Finance and Economics Club. And after high school, I would like to go into study like hematology research, like microbiology. And yeah.
I'm Jackson Dunleavy. I'm pretty heavily involved in our school's band program, marching band and concert band, and I'm part of our school newspaper.
And the last part you said, you're part of
this school newspaper.
Okay.
And I plan to study engineering.
Fantastic. Isn't it amazing how diverse their experiences, what they participate in each year? Miss Maddox, you're here, you got one up here. So your perspective on how they manage all of this.
I don't know how they manage all of this. I say that as a teacher and a mom. They are incredibly impressive. Time management obviously is important, but they sacrifice sleep, they sacrifice extracurricular endeavors that they might be interested in because they do have to find their passion and focus. Some of them try to do it all and manage somehow, and this is all while keeping their grades up. It's just amazing.
Yeah, we didn't share what their course load looks like, but I can imagine what it looks like pretty heavy. So your perspective on why involvement in so many different things is important. to your experience?
Really, I think getting involved in more than one activity really just allows you to meet new people that you might not have gotten to make connections with before. It just broadens your perspective on life and also introduces you into new interests that you might want to pursue later on.
I'm just impressed by how many different things they are part of, and they're different majors. So they may be a part of things that they may not major in college, but it's just a part of the experience. It's important. So impressed with you all. Highest number in the state of Alabama this year in high schools, best in 16 years in Vestavia City Schools. That is a tremendous accomplishment, and so excited to see what your senior year holds for you. Look forward to seeing you in May when you walk across the stage. Congratulations. Jackson. Thank y'all for coming. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for coming. Got one recognition we'd like to do, and it's one of our own. All right, so Brendan is one of our technology staff members. I want to let him describe exactly what he does each day for you, but especially for today, that he's been recognized as an emerging leader in technology, which is a tremendous accomplishment. And my just peripheral view of what he does is just incredibly dedicated to his work. Customer service is like you did in Chick-fil-A, and he's just so invested in wanting to do the best for our teachers to have what they need. But he was recommended for and won this award at the state level through his state association. Keith, I suspect you may have had something to do with that, so maybe just a few words about Keith, about Brendan.
Sure. So this award came from the Alabama Leaders in Education Technology. It's a statewide group of technology leadership. And Brendan not only serves our district so well, but he also goes above and beyond and provides training and opportunities for growth to people from other districts. So he's helped in the organization by doing courses. He's worked with vendors and provided courses for products that we used for those vendors and people who use the same software and platforms that we do. Brendan just works tirelessly for us across all of our schools, so he's not just dedicated to one school, and really provides support for our entire team. So he touches everything technology that our teachers and students touch. So I just can't say enough of great things about him, and he's really a great leader in our district as well.
Absolutely. So what's your drive to do this?
K-12 education has always been my passion. At an early age, I had an administrator in a small school in Walker County that really made an impact on me. And I wanted to make an impact on other students and teachers in a technology role. More specifically, I've always dreamed of becoming a leader in education technology, more or less a CTO. And that's one of the driving things behind what I do every day is my passion for K-12 education.
I think the teachers that work for you would say the same. We certainly have seen it. Really appreciate you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Let's move on to financial statement. Courtney.
Good afternoon, board members. I provided the September 2022 financial statements and check register for your review. As of September 30th, 2022, which is the last month of our fiscal year, we have collected 101.4% of our budgeted ad valorem tax revenues compared to the 99.6% that we had received this time last year. Our total expenditures and transfers out to other funds as of September 30th was 106.3% of the budget compared to 103.6% last year. For FY22, we ended the year with $7.68 million in fund balance, which is equal to 1.01 months of reserves, which meets the state requirement of 1 month. Our monthly financial statements and check registers are available for viewing on the board website after they are approved, and all board bank accounts have been reconciled as of September 30, 2022.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Board, I recommend the approval of the financial statement for September 2022.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the financial statement for September 2022. The board bank accounts have been reconciled through September 2022. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. Members, item 6 is I recommend approval of consent items related to out-of-state field trips, in-state overnight field trips, and out-of-state overnight field trips.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve consent items for out-of-state and in-state overnight field trips. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any questions or statements?
Lots of travel.
Yeah.
Paperwork out. We'll do just a little bit. Fish, I think I'm missing a page. I'll do it. All right. Under business item 7, I recommend the board approve that we renew the line of credit.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to renew the line of credit. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah, board members, this is a typical process we've used the last couple of years. It just makes this available to us if there are times we need to draw from it. We've been able to do that the last couple of years, and then we pay that back in a pretty quick amount of time. So it's just a process that we need to do each year. Item B, I recommend the board approve the resolution authorizing the board to seek an opinion of the Alabama Attorney General regarding the potential applicability of Act Number 2022-428 of the Legislature of Alabama.
You have heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the resolution seeking an attorney general opinion on expenditures of funds regarding the Act Number 222-428 of the Legislature of Alabama. Approval? Motion to approve?
Yeah, you get a motion second, then we'll talk about it.
What do I?
You get a motion second, and I'd like to talk about it.
Okay.
We'll do both.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. I asked King Burnett to be with us tonight, and he is our bond counsel. He's in the back of the room there, and I wanted him to speak specifically about what we are attempting to do here in getting Attorney General's opinion as it relates to One Rebel, One Future. King, thanks for coming.
Yeah, board members, as you all know well, you're in the midst of a extensive review process and planning for additional funds, additional revenues in the upcoming year. One of the realities is that you're aware of is that public bodies are generally prohibited from using public funds for political purposes. And that's generally well understood. There's been a long line of exceptions to that, specifying that actions for that are nonpartisan in nature, but that are based on a review of the best public purpose of a board. So nonpartisan actions such as referendums to look at additional revenues and other actions in that vein are exempt from that general prohibition, so long as the board finds that it's in its best interest and serves a public purpose. Last legislative session, Act 2022-428 was adopted and enacted into law, and it essentially overrides that exception to the prohibition on using public funds for purposes that I've described. And so what this resolution does tonight is it allows this board to seek an opinion of the Attorney General as we go through this planning process and look forward to what the board might want to do next year in terms of getting out the message and other items related to One Rebel, One Future. We want to be sure that this law is not clear in all respects. Let me just put it that way. It's not exactly clear And so the seeking of an attorney general opinion will give the board some certainty as it heads into a season next year where it might want to sort of get out the message and do other things related to the initiatives.
We feel like if we're not the first board to undertake a tax initiative under the new law, we would be really close in that sort of thing. So this is an important piece to make sure we're following guidelines in the spirit of the law.
And this law, I don't think I mentioned, but the law takes effect on January 1 of 23. And so, so that's another reason we want to, these attorney general opinions sometimes can take a little bit of lead time. So we want to go ahead and sort of be looking proactively for, to give us plenty of time for the attorney general opinion.
Do we have an estimate on how long you think it'll take to get the opinion?
We are hopeful that if the request goes out in the next week and a half, that we would have it back either around the new year or maybe shortly thereafter.
No questions?
All in favor?
Thank you. Item C under business, I recommend the board approve the contract with ATI Physical Therapy.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the contract with ATI. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Item D, I recommend the board approve the trademark agreement with Big Color.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve trademark agreement with Big Color. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you. Under personnel, I recommend the board approve the personnel actions as submitted.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the personnel items listed. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right, thank you. I'd like to move into our administrative report section of our meeting tonight and cover two things with you around One Rebel, One Future. And the first is entitled a STEM review. And I just wanted to share with you what is currently in progress. We have been working with and are still engaged with a company called Southern Regional Education Board, and SREB has been in business for a number of years. And as you can see from the writing here, it was formed at around that time to establish a stronger link between education and economic vitality. And so they originally were higher ed focused, but now they do K-12 work for us. And they're in process of doing some work now in our school system. I think the next slide really appropriately categorizes why we're using them. And from a quote from SREB's materials, the idea of implementing, designing, engaging learning experiences is directly tied to what we do in our first goal of our strategic plan, which is to provide profound learning experiences for all of our students and make sure it is meaningful work for them. So the connection, I think, is very natural with SREB. Now, they're in the middle of a curriculum and instruction review with us, which means that last week and this week, they have been immersed into our schools doing a number of different things that you might classify just as gathering information so that they can provide a review to us around specifically our STEM work, and that's science, technology, engineering, and math. We're looking K-12 at how we can improve in this particular area, how we can grow in this particular area. And what we will get is a report from SREB that will tell us essentially the things we're doing well and the things that we need to work on. And that's good information for us to have. But here is a summary of what they've been doing over this 2-week period. By the way, this is a contract that this board approved in July, and we have started undertaking the work, of course, last week. So they're doing desktop reviews, which they've already conducted, which included an initial survey of stakeholders and some additional information we provided to them. They're giving school presentations on the process. They're doing focus group meetings, interviews, informal student interviews, classroom observations, and lesson plans. And they're visiting all of our classrooms across the district, whether they're STEM related or not. Analysis of assessments, course syllabi, teacher collaboration. They do a team briefing, and then they'll present findings to the school districts. This is a very deep and immersive process over 2 weeks that involves a lot of different people. And you can see on the next slide the different folks that have been involved. There's staff members from SREB, but more especially, we have 24 teachers from across the district that have been a part of this work and still are, 4 business leaders and parents that are working with us as well, and 8 school and district administrators. Those teachers, administrators, and parents are committing 3 days of time to work with us on this process. And so they're halfway through it and visiting all the classrooms, and they will finish up that work this week. And then I expect to report it sometime in November. Where this will be helpful to us is to inform us as we are working on STEM and our idea to expand our STEM offerings in our elementary grades. This will help inform that work and be a basis, I think, for moving forward. And what I plan to do is to bring to you a report in February of this next year on STEM, on our idea with what we'd like to do with One Rebel, One Future, and this will be a part of that review as well. The last thing I would say, and I just think this is a good descriptive slide of a school system like Vestavia Hills. You've heard many of the great things that our students are accomplishing. It's really just a part of the legacy of things that we've done in our system for many years. And I like to use this picture sometime to discuss what that means in a high-performing school system. What you see is a picture of, obviously, the famous Blue Angels. And what they do is they start, typically their process with new Blue Angels that do this diamond formation. And I've shared this with our teachers before that one of the Blue Angels I heard speak not too many years ago talked about how their formation begins at 36 inches apart. By the end of their time working together, they're 18 inches wing to wing apart, moving at what would be 500 miles per hour. So that's impressive. 36 inches is impressive. So the idea and the point here is that there's always a place to improve. And when you're a high-performing system like Vestavia Hills, that is the same thing. And so SREB is going to cause us to have those kind of conversations to see what we're doing well and how we can get better. So I look forward to sharing that with you more in February. Are there initial questions you have? The feedback I've gained so far from those participating has been really positive. I look forward to what they bring to us. More to come on that. Our next report with One Rebel, One Future is our Healthy Schools and Energy Management Plan. Our partners from Schneider Electric are with us tonight. Dr. Martin will present some things to you. Well, we heard from them just a little while back, a little more than a year ago, I suppose, since we did this, but we have 2 board members since the last time Schneider's partnered and shared with us about this. I want you to hear a little bit about what's taking place on the energy management side in our endeavors for One Rebel, One Future.
Yes, and this slide here, this is really just a continuation of presentation from last month where we had Sean Kama come and join us from Latham Associates to go through the facility assessment. As Dr. Freeman said, we have Kyle Keith and Hal Whitsitt here from Schneider Electric, and they're going to talk with you a little bit about that program. So already started to have conversations with our building principals. Really what we're doing at this point is just sharpening the pencil in terms of what we'd like to see from each one of the buildings. So without further ado, invite Kyle and Hal to join us.
Thank you, Dr. Freeman, and board as well for having us back. And you're right, it probably has been about a year, but I think this is good timing from our side to come back. So first off, for those of you that we do have new faces in the room, we've been kind of partnered and in discussions with the school system now for probably going on 2 or 3 years, just in planning and understanding the vision of the school system and where you want to go from here. And really what we've set out to do with the district is get an understanding of your facilities, understanding everything from infrastructure needs, deferred maintenance, capital planning, healthy buildings, improving learning, and kind of where you're at and where you need to go. So we have been in development of this partnership now for quite some time. So we have some future phase plans, but also want to give you a little bit of update on where we're at today. So we've worked with probably half the districts across the state over the last 20 years. For those of you that don't know us, our office is right down the hill across from Brookwood Hospital. So we're right on Lakeshore. So it's a pleasure for us to be able to have this local partnership with the school system and help where a lot of our own employees' kids go. So really the 5 priorities that we hit on and we've looked at in the district are major HVAC needs. So y'all have beautiful schools, but there is a lot of infrastructure that needs to be addressed in some of these facilities. So we've been assessing all of that. We've also been looking at just making sure the schools are dry, so any roofing systems that need to be replaced, going through those assessments, but also any sort of operational efficiencies so that we can not only help the district operate better today, but make a lasting impact across the schools has been big. Final two pieces are making the environments in the schools as healthy and the best learning environments possible. And then finally, any sort of student enrichment and community engagement opportunities are also paramount to what we do. We actually had the opportunity, this past spring to speak at Career Day for a day. So I'll say that was my first time doing that. Very different talking to a classroom of fifth graders than school boards and administrators. So that was fun for our team to go and do. But here's kind of where we're at from a project timeline and phasing standpoint. So we actually already have one phase of work underway with the district. You guys will remember that was approved this past summer, and that was just based on critical needs and priorities of the district to get started on. So you can see that is going to include work at the high school and east. So some of you that have already been to those places, especially the high school, have seen new lighting going in, new flat panel LED lighting, much like what we had in this room that replaced the old outdated lighting. So we're doing that both interior, exterior. We're also helping out y'all's operations staff, getting everything on one centralized system, as well as planning out replacing the chiller and cooling tower up there on the roof. So for any of y'all that's been there, that's going to be quite an undertaking that we have planned there. Also, the east roof and HVAC that is at the end of its useful life is also underway. But I'll point your attention to the next three phases. You'll see these are called phases 1, 2, and 3. So phase 1 we have set to get approved and get started next summer. We will be aligning our design to finish up in line with that. So you can see this is going to take place across the majority of the rest of the district, and some of the scopes of work that are outlined there. It's a pretty comprehensive plan that we have addressing that to really get a lot of the critical needs today addressed at the system. And then you'll see phases 2 and 3 are going to be a little bit further out. We'll begin designing that here shortly to plan out here for the next year or two. And that's going to tackle the remaining secondary and elementary schools where they have HVAC needs. So right now we're in the process of figuring out the ages and the needs and aligning how we're actually going to go about the implementation of these needs with everything else that y'all have going on in the school system. So a few things that are set to come for the district. Number one, a lot of you have seen a few of these slides before, but just going through and replacing all the outdated lighting across the school system. A lot of the lighting fixtures are original to the building. So getting everything up to the latest and greatest standards is going to be key. It's also going to just brighten up and have one seamless lighting package across the district, which is going to look great. It's also going to have lighting controls so the lights aren't left on when people aren't there, and it's going to be set around those schedules. It's also going to include the latest life safety codes. You can see just a few examples here of where we need to go about replacing, especially over here at Dolly Ridge. You can see the exterior light there that's been there for quite some time. So it's also going to have a huge safety element to your campuses from an exterior lighting perspective as well. Next item that I'll mention is y'all's operations staff has done a tremendous job for many years helping operate the school system and make sure everything happens as it should. A lot of the campuses, especially at high school, is basically a 24/7 facility, as we saw from the students that were up here today. So it is extremely challenging to mirror it from an infrastructure and heating and cooling standpoint and meeting all the demands of people moving around when they're leaving, when they're coming. So getting everything into a system so that your operations and maintenance staff can essentially run the school system from an iPad is going to be key. So right now, a lot of it is left to the local level, and sometimes schedules can get kind of wonky. So getting everything into one consolidated system so that when units do go down or things aren't operating right, your operations staff can be very quick to dispatch and handle things from a maintenance perspective. So this system is going to do that. The next couple slides, I'll offer my counterpart here, Hal Whitsitt, to step up. So Hal represents our operations lead in our team. We have probably 25 to 30 people dedicated to developing this. And the next couple slides from a mechanical standpoint have probably been the heaviest lift that we've had within your school system of figuring out what you have, what needs to be replaced, how to replace it, but also improve the schools from a comfort perspective as well. So I'll let Hal walk through this.
Sure. So this gives you an idea of some of the equipment, some of the older equipment that we found around the district. These particular systems right here are in that initial phase one that Kyle showed a few slides earlier. 1977 original over here at West. 1999, 99, 2006. I mean, the cooling tower we mentioned and the chiller at Vestavia High School, that's kind of the heart of the school in terms of cooling. That serves over half, I think, the square footage. So if that goes down, big problems for the high school. So these are some of the most urgent priorities and things that we've already developed over the last couple of years since we got started. And if you go to the next one, this is a complete inventory of all the HVAC of the district. So when we first started and went through all of your buildings, went and inventoried every single unit, nameplate information, and et cetera, and then cataloged it. So put it in kind of a more graphical form that helps you understand the range of ages that are out there, the quantity of units at each age range. And then the pie chart over there shows really, we look at things as if it's 15 plus years old. For most HVAC equipment, that's getting in the critical range, and we need to start thinking about replacing it before it fails, and you have to do it unexpectedly. And then the yellow age range, 11 to 15, is kind of the warning zone, getting up there, maybe to start planning for that. And green is all good. Pretty new equipment, no worries there. So the pie chart, it was surprising to see when we first started, roughly a third, which is a really healthy distribution. It shows that the district has been proactive and is replacing units as they come due. And then since we put this together, we've updated it over the last 2 years because a few of those yellow-orange units have now moved into the red category, so that number went up a little bit. But this is largely the future phases 2, 3, 4, et cetera, our plan to address all those units.
Yeah, the one thing that I'll mention on this is everyone knows what everyone's faced from a supply chain standpoint over the last couple of years. So as we look at this, even the units that are like in that 11 to 15 year range, while we're in the design and development phase right now, we're having to plan the constructability aspects, oftentimes years down the line, of which units can be replaced during the school year, which are going to have to fall over summers. So while we're looking at this today, this is really going to be work that's going to have to be performed over the next 2, 3, 4 years, just based on what's out there and lead times of everything as well. So, any questions so far?
One point I want to make on HVAC is information you sent me just this past week about the urgency to do this. This is one piece of it, but the other piece is just the escalating costs that we're talking about by waiting. So maybe just a little brief of what you're seeing in the market, just in costs of materials.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, everyone knows that the cost is going up, but from our side, we're also trying to position it to where the district is taking advantage of the most cost-effective solutions as well. So we've looked across the industry in terms of brands, even down to like the contractor level of where can we put the right people and the right products in place for the district to take advantage of. We are seeing pretty significant spikes in equipment costs and where it's going. We've obviously seen that over the last couple of years, but we're also just talking to our network of team, going to see that even more so down the line. So you're right, Dr. Freeman, taking advantage of this today is also going to save the district a tremendous amount of money going forward when you're looking at it from the standpoint that 2/3 of the district's infrastructure is really going to have to be replaced here over the next couple of years. It's going to be able to save quite a bit of money in doing it now. Sure. We've also done a lot of roofing assessments. This is also in partnership with Lathan Architects, who you guys work with. So we've worked in tandem with them and from a project planning standpoint. So these are the areas that we either have roofing work going on or will be going on in the next phases. So Dolly Ridge is one that is a more immediate need that we're trying to look at some more immediate steps to tackle some of the leaks out there, especially that building A. Dr. Martin and I and our team have been having conversations over the last couple of weeks with that. So building A is something that we're going to look at here pretty soon. And then in phase 1 for next summer, the remaining buildings and building B and C up top. The high school is going to be a large one that has to take place over the summertime. So just planning around that is something that we're looking at in this next phase. West is where we already have HVAC and some roofing work taking place. And then, is that right, Hal? Is it west or east? East, excuse me. East is where we have HVAC and roofs already taking place, and then west and this building will be the final two in that next phase of work as well. After that, y'all should be in pretty good shape for a little bit from a roofing standpoint. You can see here just a few examples. Pretty standard stuff when you have roofs that are 20 plus years old. You start to see the moisture and bubbling and stuff like that. You see ceiling tiles that have water coming through. So we're working on all that to get all that going. A couple final pieces that we looked at, because obviously we're looking to drive any sort of operational efficiency that we can, is just different water efficiency upgrades that can take place. Everything from domestic water fixtures to even we look down, we're looking at your water expenditures, opportunities for a lot of sub-metering that can take place to save on water, even down to ice machines in certain areas that we've found were pretty costly. And then the final piece is district-wide building envelope upgrades. So we have beautiful schools here, but they need to be sealed properly as they age to make sure that the hot air is staying in the winter and the cool air is staying in the summer. So just going through and making sure everything is sealed up properly with how the buildings were originally intended. So. The final piece, I'll say this was from our initial analysis a couple years ago. So we are updating this, especially as utility rates have gone up and will continue to grow up. The impact is only going to grow. But when we were looking at this a couple years ago, the district spent about $3.3 million in utilities. We found about a 27% reduction in that. So that's a huge opportunity to save across the district, which is going to help fund about $28 million worth of efficiencies and improvements across the district. So that's the overall impact. And then the biggest thing from our standpoint is working with you guys has been something that our team has wanted to do for a very long time, driving by here. So it's great to have the opportunity. We have probably 100 people right down the road that's fully dedicated to Alabama K-12 and other public entities from a support standpoint. So while we're in this design phase today, this is certainly going to be an ongoing partnership that we see with the district to support and stand behind what we've done for a very long time. So we appreciate y'all having us. So.
Kyle, the work that we are doing is some limited work at the high school and some limited work at East. Our bigger set of projects, as Kyle's mentioned, is really predicated on the successful One Rebel, One Future. But you talked about the operational efficiencies, the cost efficiencies that we get from this, which would be, we estimate at least $1 million per year. But beyond that, and why we call this a healthy schools management plan as part of our strategy, what's the importance of this in all our buildings from a healthy building perspective?
Absolutely. Yeah. So especially when we're going through and looking at it purely from an infrastructure standpoint, we're looking to design and install systems to the latest and greatest code. A big portion of that is going to include outside air, so making sure you have the proper fresh air in your classrooms and in your facilities, whereas based on the age of the equipment and systems, you may not have that right now. A couple good examples of that are take Dolly Ridge for one. Right now, if you've been in that school, just based on the systems, there's not a lot of individualized thermostats, which limit control and comfort inside the classroom. So we're actually going through and doing a full redesign in that school so that the individual spaces are going to have their own thermostats, but they're also going to have their own sensors and controls to make sure that humidity is where it should be, where fresh air is where it should be, and then tying that all back into that system that your operations and maintenance staff is going to have, and doing that in tandem is going to be key to improving that from a fresh air standpoint. From a lighting standpoint, improving that to getting every classroom in space to the proper light levels is going to be huge in the classroom, just making sure you have one seamless lighting system, especially when you're going to LED from old systems that have ballast and lights that might buzz or flicker and stuff like that. Getting it in a comfortable lighting system is going to be key as well. So,
being a successful One Rebel, One Future initiative, this would be one of the early things that people would see, parents would see, teachers, staff. But what would probably be on the front end of some of that work in terms of all you described?
Sure. How do you want to take that one? Probably would be lighting.
Right. Yeah. Lighting system upgrades, water upgrades, the building envelope improvements. Those would be the first things that would happen. Mechanical is a much longer process that we already alluded to with summer installation and some of the roofing that, because of how much it disrupts the school facilities, has to be planned around. But lighting is always the most visible for the everyday occupant who's walking through.
So we did a podcast recently. the team here did with Dr. Martin with put that together. That'll be coming out. So if anyone's interested in hearing a little bit more about it, I think that's a great way to hear it. And we'll talk about it in our chamber newsletter as well. So real good information. Questions, board members? For Kyle, Hal, Patrick?
I did see anything on the slide, I think it's ties into one rebel, one future with regards to Musco lighting on the field level. Is that something that y'all would do, or Musco would come in, or y'all work in conjunction with Musco?
We work in conjunction. Yeah, that will also be part of what we're looking at from a lighting perspective.
It's my understanding with those type that it allows lights to come on and off instantly compared to the 20, 30-minute boot up time.
Exactly. Yeah, same goes with the gymnasiums, LEDs in the gymnasium. So we did the freshman campus, the old gym already, and that's the same situation where the old gym lighting buzzes and it takes 15 or 20 minutes to turn on, and LED just instant on, instant off.
Great. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let me leave this up.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so now that's the conclusion of our meeting. We will entertain a motion now to move into an executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation. I want to remind all of us the following. No action can be taken in an executive session. There will be no vote taken in executive session. No minutes of the executive session will be made. A request for Dr. Freeman, Mr. Boone, and Mr. Boardman to attend the executive session. I estimate the executive session will last approximately 60 minutes. Following the executive session, the board meeting will reconvene. Mr. Boardman, can you comment on the motion for an executive session?
Yes, ma'am. As a lawyer licensed practice in Alabama, I certify to the board that the board can meet in executive session to discuss the litigation ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation, controversies not yet litigated, but imminently likely to be litigated, or controversies imminently likely to be litigated if the board pursues a certain course of action. And the action, of course, as you said, would need to be taken out of the executive session.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty.